Welcome to Virginia International Raceway, full course on 12th of July 2026. Conditions are dry, with the air at 20.7 degrees and the track at 23.3. Marc starts from pole, with Frattini alongside on the front row. Behind them, Williamson lines up third with Arsenijevic fourth, then Buchanan fifth and Cav sixth. Row 4 is Pollard and Istad, Row 5 Ras and Defoe, Row 6 Chen and Sawley, Row 7 Lindqvist and Teesing, Row 8 Hunt and Williams, and Garrett starts 17th on the final row. Away they go, and Marc brings the field off the line at the start. Marc comes out of the opening exchange, still in front. Big moment for Raz, off the road from 9th and all the way down to 16th, with Lindqvist, Teesing and Surly all getting by. And now Frattini strikes back to move into the lead. Further back, Teesing gets past Lindqvist for 12th. Lindqvist loses another one here. Garrett through for 13th. This is changing fast at the front. Marc retakes the lead. Frattini is not clear of pressure either. Williamson tucked in right behind him for second. Ras starts to recover a place, getting by Hunt for 16th. Another switch up front. Frattini goes back to the head of the field. And just behind that, Marc has Williamson right on him in the fight for second. Look at this queue behind Frattini, a 14-car train packed together around the lead. It is still incredibly condensed at the front, that same 14-car group swarming behind the leader. Trouble now for Defoe, off track and then towed back to the pits, dropping from 10th to 16th. Back at the front, Frattini leads, but Marc is right there, applying the pressure. Teesing runs wide and loses momentum, slipping away from Lindqvist as Ras closes back in. Marc finds a way through once more and takes over at the front. Williamson is on the move as well, past Frattini for second place. And Williamson does not stop there. He goes on and grabs the lead. Williamson heads the pack now, but Marc is right in his mirrors. What a fight this is. 13 cars still tightly bunched together, with Williamson leading them. Marcu gets to the front. And Williamson answers straight back to reclaim the lead. This is huge at the front. Williamson, Marcu and Frattini 3 abreast for the lead. Marcu hangs on ahead of Frattini in that fight for second. The whole field is concertinaed up here. A 13-car train formed around leader Williamson. Frattini is still just holding Arsenijevic behind in the battle for third. Teising runs wide and loses momentum, dropping back from Lindqvist as Hunt closes in behind. Up front, it's Williamson from Marcu, with almost nothing between them. Marcu makes another move and takes the lead back. Now Williamson has Frattini right on him for second. And Williamson is under pressure again. Arsenijevic closing on him for third. It remains incredibly tight. Now a 12-car pack stacked up behind Marcu. Marcu only just ahead of Frattini as they fight over the lead. Three wide again at the front. Frattini right there with Marcu and Williamson. Big change there. Arsenijevic tumbles from 4th all the way down to 13th. And now Cav is the next to lose out, dropping from 4th to 9th. After that shuffle, Williamson is shown leading from Frattini. Williamson and Frattini run side by side for the lead. Williams goes through on Pollard for 4th place. Trouble for both of them. Frattini and Williamson run off together and lose ground. Back on track, Williamson is still ahead of Williams in the fight for third. Marcu comes out of it with the lead. Williamson is now shown ahead of Frattini in the order behind the leader. The front is still tightly bunched, a 7-car pack chasing along behind Marcu. Frattini holds second with Williamson tucked in behind him. Top 8 update. P1 Marcu, P2 Frattini, P3 Williamson, P4 Williams, P5 Pollard, P6 Buchanan, P7 Istad, P8 Lindqvist. Current fastest lap is 1 minute 57.893 by Garot. Williamson is just holding Williams for third, separated by only a couple of tenths. Up front, Marc still leads, but Frattini is right there in second. And now it's Frattini under pressure from Williamson in the fight for second. This has concertinaed into a 7-car train around the lead, with Marc heading it. Williamson remains ahead of Williams for third, and that margin is still tiny. Marc continues to fend off Frattini at the front. Williamson goes through and takes over at the front. Frattini also makes progress, moving by Williams for third. The lead group is still tightly packed, 7 cars stacked up behind Williamson. Williamson is back in front. Frattini gets Marc as well, and that puts him into second. Marc loses another place there, with Williams through to third. At the head of the field, Williamson only just has Frattini covered. It's now a 6-car queue around the leader, still headed by Williamson. Williams has Pollard tucked in behind in the battle for third. Frattini is ahead of Williams, but only by a fraction in the fight for second. Williams hits the front now, and Frattini goes past Williamson for second. Williamson responds immediately and retakes second from Frattini. Further back, Lindqvist gets by Garot for 7th. Williams leads, but Williamson is right on him. Behind them, Williamson has Frattini close for second. Williamson gets through and moves to the front. And it is still Williamson leading after that change at the front. Just behind, Williams is holding Frattini off in the fight for second, separated by only a couple of tenths. Up front, the margin is tiny. Williamson still ahead of Williams by around 2 tenths. Another change for the lead. Williams comes back through to take it. Big shuffle near the front here, with Williams, Williamson and Frattini all losing ground in the same phase. Marc capitalises on that and gets past Frattini for 7th. Buchanan and Istad are right alongside each other in the battle for second. Garrett goes by Lindqvist and takes 4th place. Now it is Pollard at the head of the field, with Istad tucked in behind and the gap only around 3 tenths. Williamson drops another 2 places in that scramble. The order has turned on its head and Pollard is the leader now. Pollard is still just covering Buchanan, less than half a second between the top 2. Lindqvist hits back and retakes 4th from Garrott. Chen runs wide, loses momentum to Marc ahead, and that brings Williams closer from behind after a loss of about 2.7 seconds. There is another new leader. Buchanan goes through to the front. Behind the leader, Pollard has Istad right with him in the fight for second, only a couple of tenths separating them. Buchanan and Pollard are wheel to wheel for the lead. Pollard answers back and reclaims the lead. Buchanan is still only just ahead of Istad in second versus third, the gap around 2 tenths. Frattini has gone wide there, loses a chunk of momentum, drops back from Marc, and that brings Chen much closer. And Buchanan goes through into the race lead. Lindqvist follows that up and gets past Garot for fourth. Pollard is still just ahead of his start in the fight for second, only about 3/10 between them. Up front, Buchanan leads Pollard by roughly 3/10. White flag is out for Buchanan. 1 lap to go for the leader. Frattini also takes advantage and clears Garot for fourth. And now Teising gets through on Lindqvist for fifth. This is 3 abreast for the lead between Pollard, Buchanan and Istad. Istad remains ahead of Frattini in the battle for third by about 8/10. Marc moves by Lindqvist for sixth. There are 4 cars locked together around the lead, with Pollard at the front of that pack. Frattini makes the move on Istad and takes third. Pollard leads Buchanan now by around 3.5 Marc is on the move again, past Teising for fifth. Lindqvist comes back through on Teising for sixth. Pollard only just has Frattini behind him, barely 2/10 covering first and second. It is still a 4-car train at the front, headed by Pollard. Frattini gets Buchanan and moves into second place. Pollard takes the win, an incredible drive from 7th on the grid. And look how tightly they arrive behind, 2nd through 7th altogether, with Lindqvist, the big mover, up 7 places. Hunt finishes 11th, gaining 4 spots from where he started. 12th and 13th cross the line together, while Cav ends up 6 places down. Williamson finishes 14th, down 11 places from the grid. Arseniovic comes home 15th, also down 11 places. The final result confirms it. Pollard is the winner.